We're now going to look at changing percentages over multiple time periods. This sentence here, the value of objects can go up or down, and this is known as appreciation and depreciation respectively. This basically is two words which you're going to see quite a lot, so you basically need to understand what each one means. Appreciation is the value of things going up, and depreciation is the value of things going down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at this first example here. We've got the population of Bonnyrigg is 14,500. If the population is expected to rise by 2% a year, what would you expect the population to be in 3 years' time? Now that means every year the population is going to go up by 2% from the previous year. Now a really common mistake here that people might make is think, well, I'm adding 2% 3 times. But remember, 2% of 14,500 is not going to be the same as 2% of the population a year later. So every time that 2% will be a different number. So we can't just work out 2% once and then multiply it by 3. As I said, that would be a really common mistake and we should avoid that. So we're going to look at two methods. One is going to be quite long, but it has its uses, and the other one a much shorter method, which will be the main method we'll use as the course goes on. So method 1, we're going to break it down into steps. So we're going to say after 1 year. Now, we already know how to increase something by 2%, so we're going to take our 14,500 and we're going to increase it by 2%. That means I would now have 102%. So multiply it by 1.02 and that gives us 14790. So after 2 years, now remember after 1 year, that's the population. So this is the number of people I'm now finding 2% of, which is different to what I was finding 2% of the first time. So after 2 years, I'm going to need to take that new number, 14790, and increase it by 2% by using the multiplier 1.02. And that's going to come to 15085.8. And that's our population now after 2 years. So again, we're going to take this number and we're going to see what happens when I add 2% to this number again to get our third and last year here. So after 3 years, we're going to take our new amount of 15085.8 and again increase it by 2%, so multiply by 1.02, and that's going to give us 15387.516, which is, let's see, 15388 people, if we round it to the nearest person. Now that method's quite long, okay, and we're going to look at a much shorter method from method 2, and then we'll compare the two and see when we might use them. If we look back at method 1 for a second though, all I've done here is I've taken the original amount, 14500, and I've multiplied it by 1.02, multiplied it by 1.02 again, and multiplied it by 1.02 a third time. So if I'm actually looking to do this quickly, what I can do is I can simply take 14,500 and multiply it by 1.02 3 times. So the quicker way to write that is 14500, and I could write times 1.02 times 1.02 times 1.02, but a quicker way to do that again would be 1.02 to the power of 3, which we know is the same as 1.02 times 1.02 times 1.02. Again, typing that straight into my calculator, it's going to give me 15387.516. You'll need to understand where the power button is on your calculator. You're probably looking for a little button like this, X, and it might be a little shaded box, or you might have a button that maybe says X to the power of Y, or some calculators it can be just a little up arrow like this. Okay, and we're just going to round this to the nearest person, so that's going to be 15388 people. It just makes a bit more sense rounded to the nearest person here. Now, looking at the two methods, obviously we can see method 2 here is much quicker, and method 1 takes a lot longer. Okay, so we're doing it as 3 separate stages. So why would I want to use method 1 when method 2 is much more efficient? Well, method 2 doesn't give us as much information as method 1. Method 1 gives us the population at each year, which in some questions will be useful. For instance, if you have a question where you're not given the number of years, but you're given, say, a target population, then you're going to need to work year by year. So knowing the two methods here will be useful. Let's have a look at two examples across the page here. in the first example here, this example is slightly different to what we've done in previous examples because we have a 2-year period. The value of a house appreciated by 3% in the first year and then depreciated by 5.5% in the second year. So not only are the percentages different year on year, but one of the percentages is making the value go up, appreciated by 3%, and the other is making the value go down, depreciated by 5%. So we've got an original value and we're asked what the final value is at the end of the 2 years. So this is fairly straightforward. Let's get the two parts highlighted here just so we understand exactly what we're doing. So firstly, we're going to be appreciating by 3%. So that's highlighted in green, followed by a depreciation by 5.5% in red. So let's get our multipliers for each of these. So up at the side here, I'm just going to quickly write down what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, first of all, appreciation by 3% is 100% plus another 3%, which is 103%. And the multiplier for that is 1.03. For the red bit I've highlighted, the depreciation by 5%, well, we're subtracting there. So we're starting off with 100%, we'll say, and we're removing 5.5%, so take away 5.5%, and that's going to leave me with 94.5%. And the multiplier for that, well, we just divide it by 100, so 0.945. So all I want to do in this question is take my original value of 186,000. Appreciation by 3% means multiply by 1.03. And depreciation by 5.5% is multiplied by 0.945. All of this can be done in one stage on your calculator and it'll take us straight to the answer, which is 181,043.1. So £181,043, and because it's 10 pence there at the end, I'm going to need to put an extra 0 in there. And that's basically the value of the house after those 2 years. Okay, this last example is different again in that it gives you the percentage and it tells you, the amount is falling by 26%, so going down by 26% each year. It tells you the current amount in the reservoir. However, it doesn't tell you how many years this will take. That's the actual question. The question is saying how many years will it take until the reservoir contains under half its current volume. So the first thing we need to do is work out what our target number is. We're starting with 7 million litres of water and we want to know what basically half of that is. So half of 7 million, let's start up at the top here. We've got 7 million divided by 2 is 3,500,000, and that therefore is my target. I'm basically going to continue to decrease this 7 million by 26% and see how many times I need to do that in order to get it below that 3.5 million target. So what is important when you do a question like this is to actually label the different stages. You don't want to get halfway through this question and have to go back counting through all your working. So it's a good idea to put little labels or tabs in. So after 1 year, and we've got our 7 million, and I'm decreasing something by 26%, which would mean I would have 74% left. My multiplier for that is 0.74, and that's going to give me, if I type it into a calculator, 5,180,000 litres. So again, just having this little labelling here, it just helps me keep a track of where I am in the question. So after 1 year, I'm going to have 5,180,000 litres. And I'm going to continue in that vein, making sure I label each line so it's clear and I can follow my own working. So after 2 years, I've now got, or I'm going to have 518,000, and again I'm going to reduce that. That's my 1 year total. I'm going to reduce that by another 26%, so again by multiplying it by 0.74, and that's going to give me, let's see, 3,833,200 litres. And again, I'm able to see that's not quite below my target yet. Still roughly another 300,000 to go. So I'm going to go on to my next stage after 3 years. I think this will probably be the one. So 3 years. And I'm going to take last year's total, so 3,833,200, And again, I'm going to reduce that by 26%. And that's going to give me 2836568 litres. Okay, and I can see now that this value here is below my target value of 3.5 million. So I can say it takes 3 years.